our conversation today, okay? Because I don't want you to just be here like from a religious reason. We're not a religious people. We used to be, but we don't want to be anymore. The type of people that we want to be are people who are understanding. We want to be people of learning, people of reading, people of asking questions, people who are making inquisition and making inquiry. Okay. Also, too, we want to be the type of people that mean what we say and say what we mean. Okay. This last week, we've been dealing with this particular Torah portion that's called Tetzewa, okay, or Tetzewe, depends on how you pronounce it. But Tetzewe or Tetzewa means that Yah has given a command. Yah is talking about the command that he told Moshe to tell the children of Israel. Yah did not just command Yisrael and things that happens to or has to deal with the judgments of Yah and the kukim of Yah, the laws and the statutes and decrees of the Holy One, the Kadosh Echad, but also too that it has to deal with building this relationship with Him. Okay, this last week he was talking about the priest garment. If you read your Torah portion, you will know it has about the ephod. It talks about the breastplate. It talks about what type of materials we're supposed to be given. The week before last, we talked about the Mishkan. We talked about the altar and how that was supposed to be built, and what kind of materials are supposed to be used for that. So the Creator's trying to show us is He's making a direct connect between the priesthood, the temple, the Mishkan, the dwelling place of the Holy One, and the people. All of this is, you guys, is for Yah to set up a place of a residence where He can live among the children of Israel. And the type of people that He chose is out of one family. He chose this one family, and anybody that tries to put their hands to this work that He tells them are going to be put to death. Okay. That's just the bottom line. They're going to be put to death. That's a whole nother study that we're going to get into later. But right now, I want to focus our attention on the elements of what the Torah portion was about, the tzevah, which is to command the people. And we talked all this week about the process of building. We talked about the process of refinement. We talked about making these adjustments. We talked about how Yah sees us as a people at this in particular moment. Okay. He says that His people are foolish. He said that His people are stupid. He said that His people are dumb. He said, you guys don't think. You're not thinking. Okay. And as a result of not thinking, we end up getting into a lot of trouble. Okay. Also, during this last week, I'm going to show you something right quick. Hold on, let me share my screen with you. I don't really have a presentation, but I do have some things I want to show you to go over with you right quick. Pull it over here. Have your pen and paper so you can take notes. All right. All right, here it is. I'm going to put up on the screen right quick is a little chart. Okay. All right. So what we have is this diagram of the family of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay. At the top, we got our father Abraham. Then we have his wife, Sarah. Okay. Then we have Yitzchak. Of course, Abraham had other wives. You know, he had Hagar and all those. He had others. But we're not talking about those. Okay. We're not talking about those. What we're going to focus on is our family. Okay. They had Yitzchak. Then they have Yaakov. These names that you see right here are the English names. Okay. His real name is not Abraham or Abraham. His name is Avraham. Okay. And Av is what?
Father.
Good. Okay. They got this other part of Ra in his name right here, It has a root in talking about rise or exalt. Okay. And the on the right part right here is talking about the people. Means people. Okay. That's what it means. So he's an exalted father of the people. Okay. Christians and other people are trying to what you would call I'm going to look for the right word. They're trying to not only sabotage our family, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to take hold of our family and take hold of the promises that are made to our fathers. Okay. When you hear your fathers in scripture, okay, the Hebrew scriptures, you're talking about Abraham, you're talking about Yitzchak, and you're talking about Yaakov. These are our fathers. Okay. Anytime we hear the fact of Yah says, I made a promise to your fathers, these are the fathers that he's talking about. Okay. These three right here. Okay. Somebody tell me, what did he promise Abraham? What's the oath? What's the promise?
Yeah.
What is it?
And his seed would.
You have a seed, right?
Yes.
All right. And what else do we have?
The land.
Okay. So the seed right here is called Zerah. Descendants and land right here. Reds. Perfect. Okay. What else did he promise him?
He promised him that we'd be afflicted for 400 years.
Yeah. Oh, you had to throw that in there. Okay. Before we get to that, what else did he? What's the greatest thing that Yahweh promised Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Besides the land and the seeds, the descendants, what's the biggest one?
That he'll be fathers of kings of nations.
That's good. So we got king. Praise the Kadosh one. So kings, and you're gonna have a royal family. Okay, there's princes coming out. But what did Yahweh say to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov that he would give to them and would? Well, I don't want to give it away. What is it that's greater than everything else that we have already said so far, which is huge, which is descendants, land, kings, princes, princesses, and queens, and a whole royal family? What did he tell them?
He will always be their Elohim.
Yes. Yes, that's the greatest thing of everything that he ever made mention to them. Who said that? Was that you, KC?
Yeah.
That was KC. All right. So the thing is, okay, so listen, I need you to understand something. We don't want to miss this. This is the key to everything. Okay. So I'm going to give you land. I'm going to give you, descendants. I'm going to give you, the land of the people that you're around. I'm going to give you descendants, which is the seed, but also too, I'm going to make your descendants, they're going to be royal and so forth. But more than anything, what I'm going to give you is I'm going to be your Elohim. I'm going to be your power. That's what I'm going to be to you. Okay. I'm going to be I'm El Shaddai, which is the burly one, your protector. I'm El Yon, I'm the Most High. And also, too, I'm going to be a deliverer and a rescuer to your descendants. That's what I'm going to do. I'm making an oath with you and a promise that I'm always going to do this for you. Okay. And he calls Abraham his what? What did he call Holy One? I mean, Kadosh One of Israel say to him that he was what? He's what?
That's right.
You're my friend. Our father was a friend of the creator of the heavens and earth. Okay. So if you understand if you understand just this, you'd understand when Yah told his friend, which is our dad, okay, he said, I'm going to make a promise to you. Okay. I'm going to be your Elohim. And make sure you put your device on mute so we can get your feedback. I'm going to put you, I'm going to be your Elohim. And then because I'm your Elohim and your protector, I'm also going to give you land and I'm going to give you descendants. Okay. Now, how did he verify or certify this in particular promise with him? What was the sign of the promise? Because Yahweh always gives a sign. So what's the sign, which is the oath? What sign did he give to Abraham?
It's circumcision.
Yes. He gave circumcision. Okay. And he did that in his what? In his flesh. Okay. It's in his body. Okay. It's in his flesh. Okay. Everybody knows where we're at with this. Okay. So you will know if someone's in an oath and a promise with Yahweh through this in particular sign that he's their Elohim. Okay. Remember, Abraham had another son called Yishmael, and Abraham asked him, he said, hey, how about letting my son Ishmael rule and be the, have all these great things? And what did the Creator tell him?
He told him no, his wife was going to bear his child.
Yes. He told him no. Okay. Question, did Ishmael receive the sign? Did he receive the sign in his flesh? Which is circumcision. Did Ishmael get circumcised?
No.
Yes, he did. He did get circumcised. He sure did. When Abraham got circumcised, Yah says anybody that lives in your house is supposed to be circumcised. You, your son, your servant, and anybody that you purchase with money. He circumcised him. Okay. So does circumcision automatically put you into the covenant with Yah?
Well, it doesn't make you a covenanted people, but I mean, like, it doesn't make you a bloodline. But I think that, yeah, the Most High hears the prayers of those who keep his covenant.
Yes. So what the thing I want to bring out is, does Yah have more than one covenant?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Has Yah made covenants with other people? And will he make covenants with other people?
Yes.
Yes, he will.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. So covenants are covenant. Yah made a covenant. He made a covenant with all humanity. Somebody tell me about that covenant. What's that covenant?
The rainbow?
Yes, I won't. That's my sign. That's the sign of that covenant, that I will not destroy the whole entire earth anymore. Okay. And also, by the way, that covenant was made not only with humanity, but with all flesh, including animals.
Mm-hmm. And then he has a coming covenant that, well, I don't know, you tell me more, Ray, if this is a covenant in Zephaniah 2:11, where he talks about he's going to take the power away from all the other gods, and all men are going to worship and serve him, even in the isles of the Gentiles.
Wow, absolutely. That is true. That's what he says. He's going to make them know who he is. Okay. So when I'm trying to bring out this fact that when we're talking, I want us to understand that when we're talking and we're teaching, we want to talk about our family, and we want to talk about our covenant, and we want to talk about what that means to us, and what was given to us, and what was spoken to us, and what you and I are bound by. Okay. That we're in agreement with. We're in a covenant with Yahweh. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring out another covenant in a few moments. Okay. So Yah made covenant with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Okay. Now here are the sons, but guess what? He had 12 sons. Okay. So Yah gave the tribes of Israel a different covenant than he gave to these individuals. There's several covenants that we need to understand. When people talk about covenant, they're just thinking, oh, it's just one covenant. No, there's several covenants. Somebody give me some additional covenants that he made with people in Israel.
How about I think it's in Jeremiah, I don't know if it's chapter 34, the descendants of
Uh-huh.
Rechab, the priest.
Yep.
Yes, remember when he had Jeremiah bring him to the temple, and because they didn't drink the wine, he said
Yeah.
one would always of them would always be before him.
Yes, that's
Yes.
one. And he made a covenant with David.
Yeah.
He made a covenant with the family of Levi. You
Pincus.
understand? Who? Pincus?
Pincus.
Yes, and in that family. What did he tell Pincus? What covenant did he make with Pincus?
Your descendants will always be of the priesthood,
And why?
because he was zealous for Yah and he killed
Zimri. Yeah, he killed Zimri.
Zimri and Kusi, I think it
Yeah,
is.
Cosby.
Kazi.
Yeah, Cosby, right? So there's always some covenants that Yah is making, okay? And their contracts, and what Akotia Azanya said is there several covenants that even are mentioned in Jeremiah, chapter number 31, chapter number 34, chapter number 33, okay? Yah has agreements all over the place, okay? But what we don't want to do is we don't want to conflate those agreements, okay? Our covenant is different. And I'm going to show it to you, okay? Before I go there, I wanted you to know what the sons of Israel are and what their timing of birth. Here, this little chart is giving us who's born first, second, third, fourth, and they're from Yaakov, okay? And it tells you who their mother is and so forth and so on. So we got Gad, Asher, they're 7 and 8. Dan and Naphtali are 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8 Gad, Asher, and then Yissachar, Zebulun, and then of course Yosef and Benjamin. Each one of these sons in our Torah portion this week had their names engraved on two shoham, that's called an onyx stone, with their names engraved according to their birth. Okay, so Yah's honoring the birth of the individuals. He doesn't say, well, I don't like Reuven anymore because he slept with one of his father's wives. So what I'm going to do is, and matter of fact, he slept with Bilhah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, X him out. I'm not going to recognize him. Okay. When these stones had their names on them, the priest is supposed to put those names on those stones and carry their names on his shoulder when he walks into the tabernacle, which is bearing the names of Israel before the Holy One of Israel. Excuse me, the Kadosh Akkad, the Kadosh one. Okay. So let me ask you a question. And I hate to go there, but we have to, in the New Testament, do they ever mention any of the names of the sons of Israel?
No.
Oh, they don't talk about them, but in the book of Revelation, they mention it. And they say that their names are going to be in the foundation, or the names are going to be on the gates. Their names are on the gates of the temple, right? Of the New Jerusalem. That's supposed to come down out of heaven. You guys are familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even those names are kind of, I think they're missing a name on that one, right?
Yeah, they're missing a name. They're missing Don's name. Okay. They also said that in their new Jerusalem, there's going to be foundational stones. And in the foundation of this place, this heavenly Jerusalem that's supposed to come out of the sky, okay, is going to have these stones. And in their stones, they're going to have the names of all the 12 apostles. The 12 apostles or 12 disciples in that place. I'm only mentioning that to let you know that the goal is to turn people away from, or to take, I was looking for the right word earlier about holding us hostage or sabotaging our family, or actually robbing us or replacing us with themselves. So they have a whole nother agenda. Okay. But Yah's talking about the only sons that he recognizes are these sons. These are the only people that Yah recognizes besides Ephraim and Manasseh, okay, which are Joseph's sons who were adopted into the family. This first in particular stone that I have right here is one of the stones that were what they call the Koshin, okay, the breastplate of judgment that was on the priest's chest, okay. This in particular stone represents Reuven, This is the color of the stone that that was there. Okay. And the name of that stone, I wrote these names down because I couldn't remember, but I do know their births, like I just showed you. But this one particular stone is called a carnelian. It's not the Hebrew name, but in English it's called a carnelian. Okay. And this is what the stone that represented him. I just want to kind of give you an idea what these look like, what was on top. And this was engraved with the name of Reuven. So when he put this on here, he said, I need you to engrave each one of these stones. And so this one right here, I want to put a different color if I can get it out. Okay. And I don't believe, and here's the thing, there weren't the Masoretic letters. Okay. There were really the ancient letters. So I shouldn't even write this here. I'm not going to. Okay. I'm just going to let you know who it is. This in particular was for Reuben, but they needed to put his name inside the stone. Okay. And this in particular stone was inserted into gold. Okay. So it was right there. It was cut and it was placed into gold and it had Reuben's name on it, written in the old, probably ancient Phoenician Paleo script. Not the Masoretic, not what we see. The language that we're learning right now is Hebrew, but the letters have changed. Okay. So the letters that we use for our stuff is not the letters that were on the stones. I want to be clear. Okay. Paleo Hebrew is just a different writing style. I know you guys have seen it. You know, they have this type of letter, stuff like this. They got the the hay, you know what I'm saying? They got all different types of letters that are represented by these markings. Okay. So these in particular stones did not have this modern stuff on there. They had the ancient. Okay. Here we go. So the first one is Reuven. This one right here is called Crystallite. Okay. And this is for the second oldest. Someone tell me who the second oldest son is. Who's Jacob's second son? I'll say something, you tell me, you think about it. His
Simeon,
name
right?
is Yah here. Yes.
It's Simeon.
His name is Shimon. Okay. In English is Simeon, but in Hebrew it's called Shimon. And I'm going to transliterate that and write that in English. Shimon. Okay. The letters what we have is a shin. Okay. And I think it's shin. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So his name means Yahweh hears. Okay. Why? Why say Yahweh hears? Because his mother wanted to have a son, another son. When she prayed, she asked Yah for another son because her husband really didn't love her. He loved her sister. So when she had this in particular son, which is the number 2 son, she was like, yeah, Yah heard what I said. Yah heard. Okay. He hears. All right. That's where Shimon comes from. So that's a picture of that stone called Crystallite for him. Okay. So who's the name of the first son? You got to know your family. Who's the name of the first son?
Reuben.
Yes, his name is
Reuven.
Reuven. Okay. They call him Reuben, but his name is not Reuben. His name is Reuven. Okay. What's part of his name? We got a Resh, we got a Wa, we got a Bet, and we got a Nun. Okay. What's part of his name is a son. And the first part of his name is Reu, okay, which means to see. So it was to see a son because his mother, what's his mother's name?
Leah.
His name is Leah. Her name is Leah. So Leah says, oh, I see a son. Behold, look, there's a son, because Reu means to look, to behold a son. Okay, so she had the one, and that's his name. That's the first one. The second son is named Shimon. Oh, look, Yahweh has heard my prayer. Okay, So names, remember, the name of our book is what? What's the name of our book that we're reading on? What's the name of the scroll that
Shemot.
we're reading on?
Shemot.
Shemot.
Yep, and here's Shem. And Shem means what?
Name.
Name. I put that oath right here. What does that mean? That's plurality, names. Okay. What's your name? What's your name mean?
Character.
Character. And the word shame right here, or sham, means there. Okay. Like the shah, mayim. Okay. So there. So it means like when you go there. So wherever you are and wherever you are in your character, that's where you are. That's who you are. So these names that Yah is giving us is, and he says, I need you to bear these names. I want you to put these names on what? What is this? What is it? What is it?
Precious stone.
A stone.
Stone. Yah tells you he wants to put 2 stones on the shoulder, but I need you to put 12 stones on your chest for judgment. Okay. Right? Interesting. What do you use stones for? What did they use stones for back in the ancient times?
Building.
Money.
Thanks.
Building an altar.
Building. And they built an altar. They built houses. They built altars. They built everything. They built walls. Is to build. Okay. What do you need to build something mentally? What do you need?
A plan?
Oh, there you go. We need a plan.
Yeah.
And right, come on, let's talk. And then after you got your plan, you got to what? I'm gonna put it right here. It's called intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You need a certain level of intelligence in order to carry out the plan. Okay. So once you're ready to build, you got to have a plan in place. Okay. Right. One of the words that is used for build is called banah, which is a bet, a noon, and a hay. Okay. A banah. Okay. We get our name. I should write it in another color. We get our the word or the names for son called a bane. He's a bet and a noon. Okay, a bane. That means a son. Okay. Then we have a daughter called a banoth. She's a bet, a noon, and a tav. So they share the same root, which is a bet right here, and a bet here, and a bet here. Okay. So banah means to build. Daughter is a house. For the same, for bayit, a bath is a house. And then a son is a one who's supposed to help build that house. He's a continuation of the house, okay? Because the bet in Hebrew, the bet means what? What does the bet mean? The letter
House.
bet. It house or what?
Tent.
Tent or dwelling. And this right here means continue because it means a seed. Because the seed continues. So the name of a son really says a continuance of the house. The more sons they would have, the bigger the house would become. And it will continue on forever. This is the reason why Yah gave Yaakov 12 sons. How many sons did he give to Yitzchak? His father. How many sons did he have? That we know of.
One.
On record.
Two.
Two. That's it. Okay. And then Esau had 12 sons. He had sons. And then over here, Yaakov, he had 12. Okay. So the idea behind this Torah portion about these stones is about building. It's about having a plan. It's about, and you can't execute the plan without intelligence. So you need understanding. And the word for understanding is called binyah, to understand. Okay. That's where our word understanding comes from, this word called binyah, B-I-N, like this, binah. That means to understand. So we got banah, we got binah, we got bane, okay? And guess what the name for stones is? It's Avin. Okay, which is not a V, it's an Aleph, a Bet, and a Noon. So here's the sun right here. Again, in Aleph in Hebrew is an ox head, which means what?
Strength.
Strength. So if I got that on front of a sun, it's called the strength of the sun, the stones. You see? So Avon or Avon means stone. Okay. So this is all directly connected. Okay. So it's not on accident that Yahweh chose Israel and named them these names. Okay. It's not an accident or haphazardly that he just decided to name this in particular scroll Shemot for the names, because the names of the sons of Israel are the only names that he understands that's part of the covenant that he mentions in the same book, in this same scroll in chapter number 20. Okay, which Yah has been on the process since day one, trying to develop the character of the family that he has taken to himself to build a kingdom out of. The goal is to develop us in our character so we'll be able to execute Yahweh's judgment on the face of the earth. The goal is to put us in a place of leadership. But he can't do that when you and I are not following his plans. Israel has their own plans. They have their own agenda. They don't want to do what he wants them to do. It's probably one of the most difficult things to understand, really, to be honest with you. We live in a place that you're told that, listen, go to school, become a doctor, or start a business, or entertain and become successful. And then you live your life, you buy your house, and you live comfortably, you got your kids, you have your grandkids, you drive it around in whatever kind of car you want, and you buy the kind of food, go to the gym, work out, and save some money. Yah's destiny for us is bigger and greater than everything that you and I can even understand or comprehend. We're not supposed to be here. We don't supposed to be fixated on what we see around here. The only reason why he woke us up and he's telling us his plan is so we can get in alignment with it and decide that we're going to make the adjustments. And so he gives us the Torah portion so we can start getting refined. Okay. So when we're talking about being his sons and being his daughters, he's saying, listen, you guys are going to have to be a certain way if you're going to be part of the plan. You are. I see potential in you. Okay. I chose these stones because these stones represent what you mean to me. They're precious stones. Okay. They really are. I called you my segula, and segula means that you're my treasure. When I put these stones on that koshin, it wasn't because I just wanted it just to be there. It's to represent how I feel about you. I told you that you're special people to me. So every time I see this stone, every time I look at this Carnelian, this particular one, I see Reuven. Every time I see this next stone that I'm about to show you, I think about Shimon when I see this stone. This is what Shimon looks like to me. And Yah designed these, and he made these, and he handpicked these stones for each one of these kids. Which one of these sons? Now, question for you, was Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, was any of those in particular sons in the wilderness?
No.
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 So why is he using their names? You see?
Yes.
Because they're our fathers. The question, did they receive the Torah at Mount Sinai? Did Yehuda receive it? Did Levi receive it?
No.
Did they receive it?
No.
But yet, he puts those names, listen, on the koshin with these stones to remember them. So I'm trying to bring out this point that when you look at these stones, when we look at this, when this one right here, it looks like the crystallite, right? This is an emerald. And this emerald represents the third stone of who? Who's this? Who's the third child that was born?
Levi.
That's Lewi. That's Lewi right there. That's Lewi. When Yah sees this, he sees Lewi. And everybody that comes through Lewi has to have, is going to be represented by this stone. The stone is for building. When Yah looks at Israel, he looks at them as precious. He didn't tell them to go get some rocks from outside the desert. He told him, bring me the stones that you have, and each one of these stones, I want that in particular name on that stone. Yes, Akoti. Azania.
Yes, I have a question. So, in Psalms, it says in the Psalms, and I think also in First Kings, when King David says, "Today you have begotten me. Today I am your son." Is David trying to say that he is as one of these 12 sons now? Because he does use David later as something that he builds upon. I know he comes out of Judah, but he does make him an exception. Do you think that that's what David's talking about? I know they twisted it all around in the New Testament, but.
Right. Well, that gets a little confusing, right? Because of all the stuff that we've been taught. Thank you for your question. One of the things that I found about David was this. Yah says, out of the family of Yehuda, I chose him. I chose David. And David said, David wasn't a firstborn, by the way. David was not a firstborn, but yet he says that Yah will make him the firstborn. Okay. Did Reuben lose his firstborn status?
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Right. You can lose your firstborn status.
Right.
You can lose that.
Yes,
just
like Esau did.
That, right? So David is saying that out of all the sons that you have ever had out of the family of Yehuda, you'll give to me a firstborn status because of who I am. And you chose me for this. That's what the name Bakar firstborn means. It means chosen. I'm the chosen one. I'm the one that you chose. What I particularly like about David was the fact that he understood that it doesn't matter if I'm first, second, or third. It's how Yah sees me. It depends on how Yah sees us.
Yes.
That's all matters. It doesn't matter what you listen. And once you and I understand and accept how he sees us, and we're in tune to that, you and I then can line up our lives to that. And there's nothing wrong with you saying what you're saying if you know that that's how he sees you. He wants you to know how he feels about you. Y'all does not want to make it a secret how he feels about us. It's not no secret. He's letting it be known. So in our understanding of these stones, Yahweh is saying, hey, when I see this, there's something about this. They're all different. All these stones are different. This is the fourth born. Who's this?
Yehuda.
That's Yehuda. He's the fourth born son of Yaakov, of his mother Leah. Okay. So this in particular one here is called turquoise. It's a turquoise stone. When he sees him, this is what he sees. See? So where did they get these stones from? Where did they get them? When they were slaves. Where did they get them from? Where, huh?
Africa.
They got them from Africa. They got them from the Mizraim, who they just left. And how did Yah say, I want you guys to give these stones to me? What type of attitude should one have when they offer anything to Yahweh?
No, really not.
Joyful.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Willing, noble, openness, readiness, always to give. And Yah's letting us know too that every one of these tribes are very distinct. They're not all the same. Okay, they're not going to all behave the same way. They're all different. All of their characters are different. But because all of our characters are different doesn't mean that we can't harmonize. It's like each one of us play our part in a story. Okay. So some of us would like to believe, well, you know, I would really love to believe I'm from Yehuda. I just feel it. But who knows? One day y'all's gonna let that be known. Okay. So this is Yehuda. He's the fourth born. Who's the fifth born son? Take a guess. We got 4 sons down. We got another 8 to go right quick. Who's this?
Dan. Don.
That's Don.
Don.
Yeah. And what does Don's name mean? His character. What's his character? You remember what Don means? What's Don? It's a judge. Because his mother says, oh, you've his mother, which is, who's his mama?
Bilhah. Yeah.
I think
Bill.
somebody's right. It's Bilhah. Why is it? Who's Bilhah? She's a servant girl to who? Who's
To Rachel.
Rachel? Thank you. So Rachel, Raquel, you gave Bilhah to Yaakov, and she said when she became pregnant and was born, when his boy was born, she said, Yahweh has judged on my behalf. She's in a war with her sister. See, but whose son is it? It's Rachel calls it her son. Bilhah just is a servant girl, which was a wife to Yaakov. She gave Bilhah to Yaakov to be his wife, so she can have a son through her. That's the only reason why she gave him a wife. So she can build the what?
Nation.
I'll say it again. Why did this woman, Raquel, give Bilhah to Yaakov?
Because her sister was having all the children.
She said, but what's the purpose of having children?
To build a family.
To build the family. This is the reason why she gave this woman as her servant girl to him as his wife. They understood what it meant to build a family. Okay. So that's what she did. She wanted to help build this family. And that's what the purpose of listen to me, any woman on the face of this earth, her job has to be to say, listen, I want to build I want to build a family. Okay. I didn't tell you, what's the character of Yehuda? What's the character of Yehuda? What's Yehuda's character?
To praise.
Praise. That's right. Okay. And part of that is called halal or hallel. Okay. And hallel means to make something bright. Okay. And this is where you get your word hallelujah. Okay. That means to make brightness, to bring brightness to Yah, to make Yahweh shine. It's not to praise oneself, it's to make him shine. That's what the character of this particular son is supposed to be. Why did his mother name him Yehuda?
Because she finally understood her suffering.
She understood her suffering, and guess what? When she had this fourth son, she praised Yah.
Yes.
She saw his son was the first one. The second one, she said, "You heard what I said," because she was hated. And the third son, which is Lewi, right? What does Lewi's name mean?
To join.
Thank you. Somebody's hitting it. Lewi means to join. See, I almost went by, but the Kadosh one is telling me Lewi means what? It means to join. Lewi means to join.
Conjunction.
And why does she say join? Why is it to attach? Why?
Attached to her husband.
She's attached to her husband because her husband she said, my husband doesn't love me. So Yahweh gave her a son and she named him to join because she said, now for sure my husband enjoined himself to me. Then when she had Yehuda, she said, praise Yahweh. She brought light to Yahweh because she was winning. You understand? She was winning what? She was winning the war between her and her sister. It's a story. It's a narrative. You understand? Who did Yahweh talk about this week in this particular Torah portion? Who did he mention? What son did he mention? What family?
Lewi.
He mentioned Levi because Yahweh is trying to do what? Join.
Join.
So he's using Levi to join what?
People to the nation.
Yes, and he's trying to join the people of the nation to Yahweh
Mhm.
through this family. So question, if this family messes up and they go wrong, what happens to the nation?
It goes.
There won't be no connection. So part of Lewi's name is a lamed. And what does the lamed mean? It's a shepherd staff.
Authority.
Okay. What's this next letter? This W. What's that?
Join wa.
Okay, so that's a wa, which means a what?
To join or to.
Yes, to a tent peg, yes. And the last part of his name is a yod, which means what? He or the hand. You understand? So how do you put a tent peg in the ground? What do you got to use?
You got to use your hands.
You got to use your hand and what are you using a tent peg for?
To hold it together.
To hold everything together. If that peg goes, then the whole thing falls down. When you have a tent and the tent represents a house, you can't just expect the tent to blow up. You got to put pegs all over the place in order to hold the guy ropes all over on the land. So the family has to have the tent pegs attached to the ropes, the guy ropes to the tent pegs. As soon as the tent pegs are gone, what happens to the tent?
It falls.
It falls down. If the tent is Yahweh's dwelling, hear me. If the tent is Yahweh's Mishkan, and you take away the Levi, what happens to Yahweh? What happens to the tabernacle?
It falls.
It falls down. The staff is used to give leadership, to lead. That's what a staff does. It leads. It's a yoke. You use it to prod your animals. You use it to walk with. You use it to protect. Use it for a variety of different reasons. But ultimately, what it really means is authority. A shepherd. These people called the family of Levi is supposed to be shepherding Yahweh's people. Yes, Azanya.
Just wanted to just make a quick comment. Like, now that I see you breaking this down even further with the language, and I know we talked about it briefly before, but just to reiterate, and so maybe you can think about it more and we can talk about it later. That's why I still don't understand, like where it says later in Ezekiel that the co-shepherding of the nation switches to Judah or to King David.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand it because it seems that this is what Levi was built for, and he was from the beginning.
Okay,
So
well, I got an answer for that.
okay,
I got an answer for that. Yah says in Jeremiah chapter number 33 that I chose these two families. Okay. Two. I chose both these families. That David will always have a descendant to sit on the throne for rulership. He's going to rule, right? Right. He's the ultimate pinnacle of power, right? And the part of him that is doing the rulership is literally leading the people with a different type of mindset. Okay. Meaning that's where his heart is. David has this heart that he says when Yahweh named him, he said, listen, this is a man after what? What does David's name mean? What did Yah said? He said, this man is after my own heart, my own mind. He's after my mind. He's after doing the things that I want him to do, right? So the ruler, which that's what David is, one of him or his descendants, are to turn the people's head Okay, so Yah is using two different methods to do this. He's using King David to show you that, listen, the king is the one who can walk among the people. He's the one who's a ruler that walks among the people. The Lewiim, well, you were not allowed to go and touch them, go anything. They're the ones who Yah is joining the people that way. Okay, the people are being joined to Yahweh through the Lewiim. Okay, the people are being, their heads are being turned in their minds. Okay, like we did not deal necessarily with the emotions of us. He dealt with the cleansing of us. He dealt with the how to deal with death. He dealt with the cleansing. He dealt with the judgments on different situations that pop up. But overall, he's dealing with the people. David is dealing with the heart, the mind. Okay, on that aspect of it. Okay, which is a whole nother. Like you said, we could go over a bigger study, but those are the two particular families that Yah says, I'm choosing these two families to do this. I'm going to use David to do this. Okay, David was a warrior for me. Okay, the Lewiim did not go into the go to war. They went, but they prayed and they blew the shofar, but they never had to go and fight. They never had to do any of those things.
How about Joshua?
Joshua is from the family of Ephraim.
But
Right.
Joshua he was okay. So
Yeah, he wasn't a Lewiim.
oh, okay.
Yeah, he's from the family of Ephraim, which is from Yosef.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
yes. So what we got here, everyone, is the fact that Yah is saying that if I remove this Lewiim, the one who joined you to me, then my house will fall. Okay. And he has a lot to say about what they did to the children of Israel. They're responsible for a great deal of the discontentment and the breaking of the entire family down. They're responsible for that. He says it in the book of Jeremiah, that you guys have caused my people to sin. And in Hosea, instead of you teaching the Torah, you forgot the Torah. Okay. You started doing stuff. You like my people to sin, because the more they sin, the more offerings they brought you. So you actually got wealthy off of them, and you wouldn't try to change them. You were just doing this for a business. Okay. So we got Don. He's the judge. This in particular, this next stone, what we're going to go through, and I'm going to kind of speed up a little bit because I got more information to talk about. The amethyst talks about Naphtali. What do you know about Naphtali? Anybody know anything about Naphtali?
Wrestle.
Yes, he was. Naphtali was a wrestler. Okay. And that's part of his character, right? He's a wrestler and he wrestles. And so why did his mother name him this?
Because she wrestled with her sister.
Yes, Raquel was his actual legal mother, but his real birth mother was Bilhah. Okay. So Naphtali, oh my God, hopefully I can spell that right. Naphtali. Yeah, okay. Naphtali. Naphtali was his mother was Bilhah. Okay. But Raquel was still wrestling. She was still wrestling. But guess who her wrestling was with? Remember, she went to her husband?
Her sister.
She went to her husband first and got mad at him and said, why can't you give me kids? Why can't you give me sons? Up to this point, there's nothing but sons being born. So the house is being built and she's not being part of it. So she asked him, why aren't you helping? Why aren't you giving me sons? Why aren't you giving me children? And what did he say? You guys remember? He told her, that's between you and Yah. Her wrestling was not necessarily with her sister. Her wrestling was with the Holy One of Israel. She was blaming her husband for what she was experiencing. He says, I don't have the power to open the womb. Why are you talking to me? That's between you and Yah. So we can learn from the character of this in particular son. And of course, there's a lot of history that goes along with Naphtali. But he's like his dad in the sense of being a wrestler, because that's what Yaakov was, that the wrestling that we have Okay, we think sometimes we're wrestling with others, but the fact of the matter is the wrestling is within ourselves because of how we feel about the Holy One of Israel. And that's another study. Okay, but this is an amethyst for him. Did you guys are starting to understand this? Because we're building a what? A family. This is how Yah sees Israel, as these stones. This is a really beautiful stone right here. It's called a jasnith. Okay. And of course, some of these stones come in a different varieties, different colors. Okay. But in particular, this one here is for this son named God. Okay. And God's mother's name was what?
Zilpah.
Zilpah. Okay. That's his mother's name. Okay. Do you guys know what God means?
Good fortune.
Yep. Good fortune. Because now, if you notice, if you know the pronunciation of his name is called God. This is where they get their word God. That's how you pronounce his name. God. That's where you get, this is really G-O-D. That's what they transformed it. And he says that you guys worship this God of what? Fortune. Okay. So they turned around and they changed his name into this. And if you look at when people worship the God of this in particular of the New Testament, they're really worshiping a God of fortune. A troop, because this is what people really want. They want fortunes. And so they go to what they have with their gods. So you got to be careful what you're saying. Okay. Some people only serve Yahweh for what they think they're going to get from him, not because they really want to be about his plan. Okay. So that's for this in particular son. This one right here, the next son that's born, his name is Asher. Anybody know what Asher means?
Happy.
Yes. Happy. Absolutely. So this in particular son here is called Asher. Let me put it here. Okay. In the Hebrew, it'll be an aleph, a shin, and a resh. Okay. And it really represents what they would call a rope. And you use a rope to what? What do you use a rope to do?
To tie.
To tie. Yep, to tie up or to bound, right? But also has this idea of being blessed. Okay. And so why would a person be blessed? Well, that's an abstract word because it's a rope when a rope is straight. Okay. When you got a rope and it's straight and there's no knots in it, it's called what they would call being straight. And it has to do with the person who lives a life that's straight is a person who's blessed. If you live your life as a rope, and you got to just think of this concept, if your life and your thought life, more specifically, if your thought life is a rope and your rope is always tied in knots, then you're what? If your thoughts are tied in knots, what is that? Which would, make your stomach feel a certain way. You know how when you start stressing, those knots have to do with stress. A person that's stressed is not a person that's blessed. A person who's stressed is not a person is not happy. They're not straight. A person who lives a straight life is a person who lives a happy life. And that's what Asher's name means. We have to live in a certain way in order for us to be happy. You and I are not going to be happy if we're not living a straight life. The idea of the character of a person is known by their name. You say, well, you already said this before. Why do you keep saying it? Because we're in the same book that we've been in for the last couple of months. Because he's dealing with us and he's telling us this is the way it's going to be. Because I need you to get it. Okay. So a lot of us, because you never hear anybody say, I'm from the tribe of Asher, do you? Where do you hear people say about what tribe they want to belong to?
Always Judah.
It's always Judah.
Judah.
Why is it always Judah?
I think because everybody, well, I know that like when so many of us came into the awakening, they showed us like that Bowen's map, 1747, the kingdom of Wadia or Judah. And so I think a lot of us believe that since the northern tribe had been dispersed in the days after King Solomon, that we were from the southern kingdom, and then even from Genesis all the way through through the end of the prophets, the tribe of Yehuda is exalted.
Yes.
And everyone wants to belong to the kingly tribe, especially a group of people that have been really oppressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. I hope everyone's taking notes. Asher, when Yah gave him his portion of land, his land had a lot of olives, a lot of olive trees, okay, which you would get the olive oil, okay, and the olive oil was used in our Torah portion as for the lamps, to which are called a nar, okay, and the nar was used to bring what? Light, okay, and he was the one who's the happiest. And they said also too that he has some of the most beautiful daughters that you've ever seen, okay, and anytime Israel had to go get oil, they had to go to this guy. You understand? They went to him to go get the oil. With the oil that was used for the tabernacle, for the menorah, was coming from the tribe of Asher. You see? So this is part of their heritage, and part of their inheritance is olive trees, okay, and olive oil. And so Yah has given each one of the, so when you look at the stones and their different colors, and it's not just the color, they have different characteristics about them, okay? So I would say to us today, let's just not focus on Yehuda. Let's focus on having the character of our family, because when we're all living together, these are some of the same qualities that Yahweh wants us to have. Is it okay for us to judge? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. The New Testament tells you not to judge. Yah tells you to judge. Okay. Is it okay to be a witness against somebody? Yes. Is it okay to want to be joined? Yes. What are the characteristics of the Levites? If Yah's using that family to teach Israel, do you think he wants you to have some of the character traits of your family? Yes. Do you think he wants you to be happy like Asher? Yes. Do you think he wants you to be a judge? Yes. Okay. Part of Dan's name, which I didn't get a chance to finish saying, but Don, which is his name, if you put an aleph on front of that, is Adon, meaning that I am a master. Does Yah want us to be masters and leaders? Yes. You understand? So there's a whole host of different things that Yahweh wants us to understand about our family. Does he want us to praise? Yes. So let's don't get stuck on one family member. Let's embrace all of our brothers and all of our sisters. Okay? Because it's not just about one tribe. This is where the Ashkenazis got it wrong. Okay? This is why you should know that they're not the people, because they're not interested in anybody else except for themselves. The whole world is going around calling them the Jews from the tribe of Judah. But what about Asher? What about Naphtali? You guys don't have any situations in your life where you're wrestling and then you can overcome? Absolutely. So this is the reason why these names are here. Yah's talking to us. Okay. This one here now is called, this is the son called Yissachar. And the stone that's being used here is what they would call a crystal. Okay. You know, I don't know what that represents. I don't know if it's just because it's clear. I don't know what it is. But in the simplicity of it, if it's being clear, you would think, well, it's not as pretty as the other one because it doesn't have color. No, maybe it has to do with transparency. You know, we don't know all the different meanings, and I will not sit here and tell you that I do. But this is for him, Yissachar. And Yissachar was something that his mother named him because of what? Because she wanted her what? Her wages. That's what his name means. Yissachar has to do with wages. Does anybody remember what why his mother named him this? Whose mother is it? Who's his mama?
Issachar still belongs to
Yeah.
Levi. Or not Levi, I'm sorry,
Issachar is
Leah.
Leah. That's Leah's son. So when
It was over the
Reuben-
was over the Mandarin route.
yeah, it was over the Mandarin route. When Reuben came out, the oldest son came out from the field, and he had some roots, some what they were called aphrodisiacs, right? To and for fertility. This is what they believed in. And so she's like, hey, give me, Raquel was like, can you give me some of your son's mandarin roots? And she's like, well, what you go give me? And she was like, I'll give you Yaakov tonight. And so she said, okay. So she gave the root to her, and Yaakov went into her Leah's tent, and she conceived that night. And guess what she said to Yahweh? She said, you heard me and you saw what I did. And guess what you did to me? You gave me my wages. Because I lent out, because listen, you gave me my wages. So every time Yahweh looks at Issachar, he looks at the wages. Every time he looks at Yehuda, he looks at praise. Every time he looks at Don, he looks at judgment. You understand what I'm saying to you? This is the reason why these stones are on the koshin of the priest, because the priest's job is not only to just be there to teach Israel, but it's to bear witness to the sons of Israel as a reminder to the Holy One of Israel. Why you say does he want to be reminded? Because Yah loves Zikaron. He loves memorials. He loves it all the time. He loves memorials so much that he tells us to keep memorials. What's the first memorial you and I are supposed to keep coming up this year? What's the first memorial?
Passover.
There you go, Pesach. And what does Pesach remind you of?
It's rescue out of the house of bondage.
Yes, and Yah said it's a memorial for us to remember for how long?
Ever, forever.
Why does he want us to remember forever?
Because he joined himself to us.
Yes, and also too, he plans on doing it again. It's a reminder to us that Yah is our strength and our power and our savior and the one who brought us out of bondage. Yah gives memorials all the time, okay? All the time. He even has a book called the Safer de Zikaron of memorial, okay? Let me scroll through this one because we got to go. We got to go to our next phase because the next phase is going to figure out whether or not you want to stay or you want to leave. You guys know I bring up stuff and people get mad and say, I can't deal with that. I say, you ain't blessed. People got mad and left. I say that you and I are not serving Yah right now because we're serving the tyrants. They got mad and left because of that. I said that you're not going to be healed 100% here. I said you're going to have disease when you're here. And guess what? These people have been lying to you, telling you won't get COVID. People are getting COVID. If you keep the Torah, you ain't nothing going to happen to you. Listen, folks, we're not snake charmers. I ain't going to tell you nothing to make you believe anything. It's the truth. We're in exile. This stone right here is from this in particular son called Zevulun. Okay. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I forgot what his name means. Does anybody know what Zevulun's name means?
I don't know.
Dwelling.
Yes.
Dwelling.
Yes. Somebody got it. Dwelling. Now my husband's going to what? My husband's going to dwell with me. Whose son is this?
Leah.
Leah. Leah had so far. Leah got like 6 sons.
Yeah.
She killing of her own, personally out of her body, and she got 2 more. Leah has a total of 8 sons. Now who really built the house of Yaakov?
Leah.
Yes, the one who's loved or the one who's hated. The one who's hated is the one who's giving more of a contribution. Oh, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you. Do the nations hate you or do they love you?
They despise us.
They despise you. They hate your
Yes.
guts. They can't even look at you. They can't even say nothing nice to you. They hate your guts. Because you're like who? You're like Leah. Do you not want to dwell with your husband? Who's your husband? Israel. Who's our husband?
Yeah.
That's right. Yah's our husband. Do you want to dwell with your husband? I want to ask the question. Do you want to dwell with your husband?
Yes.
Then you better do what your husband says. This is not our house. This is Yah's house. You understand? He's the husband. You and I are hated by people. Does Esau love Jacob or hate Jacob? He hates him. He wants to tear his head off because he feels like you stole from me, which he's lying. This one here is really interesting. This one here is called Yosef. Okay, beautiful stone. It's called a lazuli. The last one was called a beryl. I'm sorry. This particular stone is called a beryl. B-E-R-Y-L. Okay, this one here is called a lazuli. That's the lazuli. There's been some translations where they try to call it a shoham, which is an onyx, but it's not. It's a lazuli. Okay, and a lazuli represents the tribe of Yosef. So Yosef, his family, what does Yosef's name mean? What's his name mean?
May God add or God will add, not God.
May
but
God add, may God add to him, may he
Increase.
increase him, and may also too, the mother has said, now that Yah has taken away my reproach, because his mama's name is Raquel, and this is her first son. This is her firstborn son from Yaakov out of her own body. She said, Yah has now taken away my reproach and my shame. Okay. And therefore now I'm increased. And they say, may he increase and add to me. So the real meaning of this man's name is to take away reproach. Let me ask you something. In shame, what is Yahweh's intention for Israel? Go say it, Azanya. I know you want to say it. I can hear it through the phone.
To take away our shame and reproach.
Because we are what?
We're despised. We're hated. And he's going to show the world that we are his glory.
He's going to show the world that we're his glory. He's going to show the world that he loves us. He's going to show the world who we are.
Yes.
You see? And guess what he's going to really do? He's going to reveal these precious stones. See, the nations have these stones. The nations have these stones in their possession. See? These are Yah's jewels. Yah's jewels are the carnelian, the crystallite, the turquoise, the sapphire, the emerald, okay, the agate, the jacinth. These are all Yah's stones, which represent the sons of Israel. You understand? The lazuli, this is what's all over the place. People have taken Yah's jewelry. Okay.
Joel 3, when he talks about you've taken my precious things, right? He's just not talking about the things out of the temples. He's actually talking about us as well.
Yeah, the people. What's precious to me is the people. Hallelujah. This just represents what I'm talking about. Okay, here's the last and final one called the stone of Jasper. Okay, and this represents the son Benjamin. And this is and then what's her name? Lost her life when she had him. Okay, his name is really Benoni. Okay, my son of affliction. Okay, that's what it was, because she felt a lot of pain, and the father, Yaakov, renamed him and called him Ben Yamin, the son of my what? The Bane, which is son.
Son of my right hand.
Yah, it's my hand. Okay, and Yamin means right. Okay, so the son of my right hand. Okay, and this is the representative, okay, of that. See, so all these stones are to build the family, and all these stones are a representative of you and I. Yahweh is saying to you that you are my son, Israel, that I chose, and that's the son of my right hand. It's not Yeshua. It's not Zeus. It's not Christ. It's not JC. It's not any of those people. Okay. It's not because he has dreads and he's black now and he has, red eyes. My son is representative by a body of a group of people, a nation called the nation of Israel. And you today were able to see these different representations of that. Okay. Now we're going to go into our final part of our lesson. Praise the Kadosh one of Israel. I'm going to move around a little bit faster now because I only have a certain amount of time. All right. I want to honor the Shabbat by giving you your time to rest. Okay. So let's go here. I got some not so good news for you. Okay. I just want to read a couple of different things to you, and then we're going to go ahead and button it up. And then I'm pretty sure you're going to have some questions after this. Okay. So I'm going to read some stuff to you right quick. Bear with me. And then I want you to just understand what it is. Okay. This is chapter number 20 of the book of Shemot, which is the book of character, the book of names. Okay. And it says this. For me, I'll make it all right, let's start right here. This is after Yah has told the children of Israel, or spoke to Israel about all the things that he said. This is the covenant, right? It says all the people had all the people experienced the thunder, the lightning, and the sound of the shofar and the mountain smoking. When the people saw it, they trembled, standing at a distance. They said to Moshe, "You speak with us, and we will what? We're going to listen." Okay, that's what they said. But it says, "Don't let Elohim speak with us, or we will die." Moshe answered the people, "Don't be what? Don't be afraid, because Yahweh or Elohim has come only to what?" Verse 20. He's only come to do what to you? He's only come to test you and to do something to make you what? Fear him, so that you won't commit sins. That's the reason why he came. This is the reason why he showed up on Mount Sinai. Don't be afraid, because Elohim has come only to do two things: to test you and to make you fear him. And the result of that is so you won't commit sins. That's the only reason that he came. Okay, that's Shemot, character, chapter number 20, verse number 20. 2020. Hear what I just told you? Okay, so let's go on to the next one. And then we're going to break it down, and then you'll see what I'm saying. So that was that. Now let's go here to chapter number 5. All right, so this is the book of Deuteronomy, the words. The first time there, it was the first generation that the commandments were said. Okay, this generation in Deuteronomy chapter number 5 is going to be not almost verbatim. Now he's talking to the second generation. So he killed the first generation because they wouldn't listen to him, and they were just hard, and they just tempted him like 10 times. And he's like, "I ain't having it. You're not going into the land because you just brought a false report. You lied on me. So you're not going in." So now I'm talking to your children. Because so now everybody that was there on the chapter 20, verse 20, they're all gone. The older people from 20 years old and up, they're all dead. Now he's talking to the second generation, the kids who they said, so this is like literally 40 years later. Okay. Moshe called to all Israel. Okay. So you see that even though the parents died, he's still talking to the nation, and said to them, "Listen, Israel, to the laws which are the kukim, and the rulings which I'm announcing in your hearing today, so that you will learn to take care and to obey them. Okay. You're going to learn them and you're going to also obey them, meaning you're going to do them. Okay. Verse number 2, Yahweh, our Elohim, has made a covenant with us. Made a covenant with us at what? At Korev, which is Mount Sinai. That's another name for it. And this word Korev, just to let you know, just to put everything in perspective, this word Korev here has to do with a word called sword. Okay. Why a sword? Because it's used for vengeance. And when Yah gave the covenant and he spoke to them, he said it was attached to a sword. Like, if you don't do it, I'm going to bring vengeance on you. And that's in chapter number 26 of the book of Vayikra, which is Leviticus. It'll tell you, I'm going to send out the sword to bring vengeance. So it's not, there was a reason why he brought them to that in particular mountain. Okay. Because that mountain has to do with the sword. Okay. So I did not make this covenant with your fathers or our fathers. Yahweh did not make this covenant with our fathers. Our fathers here are who that he's talking about. I showed you those fathers at the beginning of our lesson today. Who are those fathers that he did not? There you go. He didn't make it with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So this is totally different. But he made it with us who are all of us here alive today. Yahweh spoke with you. How did Yahweh speak to them? Somebody say it.
Face to
Directly.
face.
Face to face. So has anyone saw Yah face to face?
No.
Yes. He's telling them right here. Remember that I stand corrected. People say, Yah says no one can ever see me. No human will ever see me and stay alive. Correct? That's what he told Moshe. No one's ever seen me. This is a what you would call an idiom, like a phrase, like a type of saying. They saw they were in his presence. That's what this is saying. Yahweh spoke to you face to face. Yeah, they didn't see Yahweh's face, but they were in his presence. See? So when Yah says that, when it says in a latter part of Exodus that Moshe saw Yahweh face to face, this is what it's talking about. That he was in Yahweh's presence. They were in Yahweh's presence because they saw the fire on the mountain. So literally, they didn't see him face to face, but because of them being in that vicinity, he says you saw him face to face. He spoke with you face to face. Okay, spoke with you face to face. And it says, at that time, I stood between Yahweh and you. So he stood between. What tribe is Moshe from?
Levi.
Lewi.
He's from Lewi. So now do you see when he says between? He's being a what? He's being like a what? An intermediator. He's being like something to make a connection. This word "and" is really a what? It's a wa. In Hebrew, if you look at it. Anything you see the word "and," it means wa. It means I'm making a connection, a conjunction between you and someone else. So I'm making a connection between you and Yahweh. So Moshe is saying, I'm really the what? Who's the tent peg? Moshe. Moshe is the tent peg. Because that's where he said, I stood between you and Yahweh. Do you get it? I'm joining you and Yahweh. I'm the joiner. I'm the tent peg. I'm connecting you to Yah. Because at that time, I'm the one who stood. So what he's saying is I literally placed myself as a tent peg between. So this tent peg right here is Moshe. I stood between you and Yahweh in order to tell you, to make known to you what Yahweh was saying. Because on the count of the fire, you were afraid. Remember, he kept saying you were afraid, but he said, remember, he told you don't be afraid, but they were afraid anyway. And they, in chapter number 20, they ran back and they said, we want to go hide in a tent. He said, and you wouldn't go up on the mountain. Yahweh wanted them to go on the mountain. Why did Yahweh want them to go on the mountain?
to receive his instructions.
He wanted them to receive the instruction, but they didn't want to go because they were what? They were afraid. Okay. This is going to be important for you to understand today. He says, then he says this, and then he goes on and says, he said, and he's telling them what he said. Okay. And remember, these were the little kids who just grown up and they're 40 years later. He said, I'm Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, where you lived is what? You were slaves. That's what I did. You are to have no other gods before me, right? You are not to make for yourselves carved image, any kind of representation, anything in heaven above, on earth beneath, or in the water below the shoreline. You are not to bow down, which is to worship them or serve them, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. I'm jealous, Kana, and I'm an Elohim punishing the children for the sins of the parents, also to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. So what he's talking about here is, a lot of people say, well, this kind of contradicts what he said about you can't punish and kill the children for the parents and the father for the son and the son for the father. But what Yah was talking about is the sins of the parents here, according to language. The third and fourth generation of those who hate me are the ones that are the children who are continuing to do what their parents did. The ones who, when he talks about I'm going to punish, that means I'm going to visit. That's what that word means. It's not just punish, it means visit, which as a result, you will be punished. But I'm visiting. Present tense. Okay. The children. For the sins of the parents, because the parents are the ones who are teaching the children. To the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, the children still hate me. They put distance between me and them. Okay. And so if they're putting distance between me and them, that means that something is not okay, here's the question. What draws us to Yahweh? If he said those who hate me, and he talked about sins, and he says he comes so you would be afraid, and that you would fear him so you wouldn't sin. So what's causing the distance?
Sin?
Yes, but that's apparent. That's what they would call, I tell my children, don't state the obvious. Tell me what.
Watch more.
The parents not teaching the children to respect the Most High and to keep his commandments.
Yes. So here's the deal. The parents are the ones. The parents are the ones who are teaching the children to go against Yah. They're saying that it's not important. It's not important for us to teach. Okay. It's not important for us to make sure that they stay according to this covenant. The thing that puts distance between us and Yah is us not teaching our children Yah's laws. That's what the point I want to bring out. Moshe said, Yahweh has come this way to test you so that you would fear him so you wouldn't commit sin. So if he's saying that I'm coming to visit the children and to punish the children for the sins of the parents, that means that the parents, the sins of the parents are the ones who don't what? They don't fear Yahweh. Remember, he says, he's come to put fear in you. Okay. So you can fear him. He's testing you so you could fear him so you won't commit sin. So the people that are committing sin are the ones who don't fear Yahweh. Does that make sense? Okay. I want you to understand this. We're talking about fear. That's what I want you to know. When you talk about sins, you're really talking about those who don't fear Yahweh. They don't fear him. When you don't fear him, you hate him. You put distance between you and him. Okay. But he says displaying grace, which is mercy and compassion, to the 1,000th generation of those who love me and obey my commandments. Okay. So there's people who love me and there's people who hate me. The people who love me are the ones who listen to me, the Shema, to my commandments. They're listening to my commandments. And if you listen to my commandments, you're the ones who fear me. The ones who don't fear me are the ones who hate me. And they put distance between me and them. Fearing me means listening to what I say and doing what I say. Okay. It says you are not to misuse the name of Yahweh. Okay. Because he will not leave unpunished someone who misuses his name. So again, you can see this idea of punishment and judgment and visiting, having to do with someone who's doing something against the creator. One of the things here, they call it misuse, which is called this Hebrew word called shah. Okay. Shah means to do this, to cause Yah's name as being empty. And empty means that it's worthless. So you have no regard whatsoever for the name of Yahweh, your Elohim. That means also too that you bear his name. Okay. To bear his name means to hold it and to carry it. And because his name is upon us, we're holding his name upon our lives and we bear it. Earlier this week, I told you that if we're going to say that as Yahweh lives, you and I have to have a life that's indicative of that, saying that he lives. Because if he lives, that means we'll fear him and do what he says. If we don't do what he says, that means that you don't fear him. And that's what it is. And here's another thing he says. Yahweh will not leave unpunished someone who misuses his name, meaning counting his name useless and misrepresent what he really represents. So if you and I have his name and you and I are misusing it because of the way we live our lives, Yah says that in particular person is not going to go unpunished. If Yahweh lives, then you're going to live. If Yahweh lives and you know who he is, he's called Kadosh. So he tells you and I to be Kadosh, Kadosh, because I'm Kadosh. You see? So if you and I are not living a Kadosh life and we don't want to subscribe to that, Yah says, I'm not going to leave you unpunished. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that Yahweh has joined us to himself through the covenant. He used Moshe to stand in the gap to tell us what it was. And you and I agreed, and Yah's going to hold us to the agreement that we made. We told Yahweh that we didn't want to hear him. We wanted to hear Moshe. And because Yahweh said that what the people have said is good, right? So listen to this. Observe the Shabbat so that it is set apart as holy. That's Kadosh. For Yahweh your Elohim has ordered you to do. You got to do this. And it means, observation here is an infinitive absolute in a grammatical sense, meaning this is forever. That's not only when you feel like it, it's all the time, okay? And so you got to do this, okay? And an observation of the Shabbat doesn't mean when you get to the Shabbat, that's when you observe it. I want to hear what I'm about to tell you. During the week, God tells you that observing the Shabbat means if it's infinitive, it means an absolute. It means it's always going to be there. It's going to happen. But you got to be the kind of person and say, you know what? I'm doing business during the week. I have to prepare for the Shabbat. I got construction going on in my house next week. And I forgot to tell the guy, which I forgot. I forgot to tell him, which was one of my uncles. I forgot to tell him that we don't do any work here on Shabbat, but I'm going to tell him tomorrow. I'm going to tell him that you can't do. So that's observing the Shabbat. When you go out and you go grocery shopping, you need to be observing the Shabbat. Well, how do you observe it? When you're buying your food. Oh, Shabbat's coming up. I would like to celebrate the Shabbat with this in particular wine or this particular food. Oh, guess what? When I'm also grocery shopping, I'm out doing my business, I need to buy something that could be more decorative. And this is for the women. I need to decorate the house with this. I need to get some cleaning supplies because for the Shabbat, I got to make sure the house is clean. Oh, we need to, we need to fix this. This needs to be fixed because the Shabbat's coming up. So if the stove ain't working, I need to fix that. The heater ain't working, it needs to be fixed. You need to make sure that the house and the environment is conducive to rest. If there's something going on in the household, in the relationship, I need to fix this. And I'm just more specifically talking to husband and wives because I'm guilty of this. During the week, you need to be preparing for the Shabbat. So if you got some contention, well, you will have contention in your house. We all do. You need to straighten that out prior to the Shabbat, prior to preparation for the Shabbat. Everything Yah is telling us, you need to make some adjustments. You need to have your way of thinking changed and refined. Okay. So observation of Shabbat is not a religious observation. Oh, tomorrow's SATURD. So I need to get prepared. No. Observation means you always thinking about it. You're always thinking about what does it mean and how you're supposed to set it apart because you have 6 days to do everything else you're supposed to do. You got 6 days, just like Yah had 6 days to do what he wanted to do and he did all of his work. He's saying you got 6 days to do it. But on the seventh, the Shivi'i Yom, it's a day of rest. It's a day of relaxation. It's a day of refreshment. It's a day of regeneration. It's all refresh, regenerate, reframe, respond. It's all the reason there. Rejuvenate. It's all part of that. And the reason why he wants us to do this is because your soul needs to refresh itself. Okay, it needs to refresh itself. Your soul came from Yahweh. You're made in the image and likeness of the Holy One, the Kadosh One, Akkad of Yahweh. And on it, you are not to do any kind of work, not you, your son, your daughter, your male or female slave, not your ox, your donkey, or any other livestock. You are not the foreigner staying inside your gates to your property, so that your male and female servants can rest just as you do. It's a time of rest and restoration. It's a time for to recline. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to refrain your hand from doing that which is considered to be work. Now, you can brush your teeth, wash your face, make up your bed, but don't go around trying to clean up and all that kind of stuff. Don't go around and try to cook a meal. You don't need to do all that. You should have done that yesterday. Okay. And the reason for this is because Yah's telling us in 15, which I really want to make clear, that you are to remember that you were a slave. That's the reason why. You're a slave in the Mizraim. That's connected directly to Shabbat, is that it is a time for you to reflect and to remember that you were a slave. That's why. So when I created the heavens and the earth on the seventh day, I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about your slavery, because I made it for you. And that's in Exodus chapter number 31, verse number 13. Okay. Remember on this day, on today, you need to remember that I brought you out. Yahweh, your Elohim, brought you out from slavery with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. This is what Shabbat is also a time of reflection and to remember. It's a zikaron. I need you to remember that. Okay. So you can't treat it like every other day. Therefore, Yahweh, your Elohim, has ordered you to keep it, to guard this day. Your Shabbat day is a remembrance of what Yah has done and what Yah is going to do for you. So the people of Elohim are the ones who do what he says. Those are the ones who fear him. Okay. So then he goes on to talk about the rest of the commandments, which you should know what they are. But I want to bring you to one last place. And that's right here in verse number 22. It says, these words Yahweh spoke to your entire gathering at the mountain from the fire, cloud, thick mist, in a loud voice, and then it ceased. So they only heard these 10 statements. Then everything became quiet. It ceased. But he wrote them on two what? He wrote them on 2 stone tablets. Okay. I looked that up and I was like, okay, so that's stone. That has to do with stones. So here again, here's the stones and the tablets. The tablets are called a Luchoth, okay, in Hebrew. And a Luchoth means to make something moist. And to take the stones, what he's talking about is to literally take and make something wet and moist so you can write it with your finger. And that's how they did it. And you write on clay when it's moist. And then once it hardens up, it allows it to stay where it's at and never to be changed. Okay. And it means the outside voice. Okay. So when Yah spoke these words, he put them on stone tablets, which he gave to Moshe. And he says, when you heard the voice, okay, coming out of the darkness as the mountain blazed with fire, you came to me, all the heads of your tribes and all your Zaken, your leaders, and said, here, Yahweh Elohim has shown us his glory. So they've seen it, and his greatness. We have heard his voice. So his voice is what? His voice are the 10 words. I am Yahweh your Elohim who brought you out of the land of Mizraim. You should not have any other Elohim before me. You should not take my name in vain. You should keep the Shabbat. You should honor your father and mother. You should not steal. You should not commit adultery. You should not kill. All these things. They heard these, okay? And so that's his voice, okay? So anyone who doesn't listen to Yahweh or doesn't adhere to the 10 words are saying that they don't want to hear Yah's voice. That's what they're saying. Because the Luchoth is the outside voice. This is Yah's voice that's on that tablet. And they took those tablets and put it inside the Ark of the Covenant that he had them build a gold box for. And anybody that touched that box was put to death. Anybody that looked at that box was put to death. Okay. So it says, so the voice was coming out from the fire. And we have seen today that Elohim does speak with human beings. This was Israel's saying. Okay. That's what they were saying, that Yah does speak with human beings. So it's not going to be, just some voice that says, this is my beloved son, hear ye him, and then it goes away. No, it's going to be frightening. It's going to be fire. It's going to be lightning. It's going to be thunder. But they asked a question. They said, well, we saw that and we stayed alive. But he said, the question they asked is, why should we keep risking death? This great fire will consume us if we hear the voice. Because remember, the voice has ceased. Okay. This is what he's reminding them of. You heard the voice of Yahweh or Elohim anymore and die. Okay. For who is there among all humanity that's heard the voice of the living Elohim from fire as we have and stayed alive? This is a clue right here that Yah put in the Torah to remind us that when he comes back, the way he's going to kill these people, when he comes back, is he coming back in fire? And also too, they're going to hear him. He's going to make it known who it is. And through the fire and through the judgment, the question is who can stay alive? And the answer to that is nobody except for Israel. This is the reason why they did stay alive. But they were like, why should we keep risking death? You said, 27, you go near and hear everything Yahweh Elohim says. Then you will tell us, you will make known to us everything Yahweh Elohim says to you, and we will listen to it and do it. That's their affirmation and confirmation with what they said, and Yah heard them. 28. Yahweh heard what you were saying when you spoke to me, and Yahweh said, I have heard what this people have said when speaking to you, and everything they said is tov. Everything they said is good. Why? Because I will kill them. They are risking life. They are risking their lives. Because as soon as after he finished telling them this, they went back to their tents. Okay. Now, in closing, here is the point that I want to make to you about fearing Yah. It says, oh, how I wish. And this is, they say Yah speaking. Oh, how I wish that their hearts would stay like this always, that they would what? Fear me. Me right here is Yahweh, and obey all my commandments, so that it would go well, tov, will be good with them and their children forever. So that's the goal, right? The goal is that he wants your mind to always stay like this, always, so that you can fear him. But the question is not, Yah did not say, oh, how I wish. That's a mistranslation, and that's to show you that they don't have any respect to his name or his language. I want to show you what this is in Hebrew, and then it's going to probably encourage you to say, you know what, it's time for me to learn the language, because the only way that Akikah.will was able to find this out was reading the language. All right, so it's chapter number 5, and we're going to go there. They said, oh, how I wish. Okay, but this is not a wish. It's not a wish, and it's not a desire. It's actually what they would call a question. Okay, Yah asked a question. He didn't make a statement. It's actually a question. Okay, go near. Okay, here. Words of voice. 29. Okay. All right. This word right here, me, in Hebrew means who. And this yod right here is he, and this tain right here is give or set. Okay. And this word they have here for heart is not heart, and I will show that to you. It's not heart. The next word is heart. They said that this is this word right here. This means this, and this means heart. That's not true. Let's look at this word right here. It's called wahaya. Somebody tell me what haya means. I got some Hebrew students in here. Let's see the power of the language. What does haya mean?
Was it like he exists or something?
To exist. Jared, you knew it and you didn't say it. I'm getting on you today in class. 1961 says this. They said that it means come to pass. It means haya. Listen. Haya. To be, to fall out, to come to pass, meaning to exist. Okay. To something that comes about. Okay. It means to exist. That's what it means. It means to exist or to come to pass. Okay. So that's what it means. It doesn't have, so here when they have it as heart, that's a mistranslation. So again, who is, okay, so the question is who, and the yod is he. Who is he that will give or that will set and exist the lavavkim, the hearts and really minds of this, of them to fear me. Okay. So the question is, and here is to fear me. Question is, who out of all these individuals is he who will set or give and exist his mind of them to fear me? It's not I wish. It's not I wish that they had a heart to fear me. The question is who will give who would set and give and let their heart exist to be able to fear me? Do you guys see that? This word is not, oh, I wish. It is called me. And me means who. So out of the people, after he made the statement and said, the people have heard my voice, what they said was good and what they have spoken is right. And now Yah has asked this question, which is, who of them would give their heart and it would set their heart, and set a heart is really your mind, to always like this and to always have this heart and this mind to exist, to always fear me. Because the idea is if you fear me, you won't sin against me. I don't wish anything. I want you to understand that. I'm not wishing that you would do that. Okay. So the fear is the goal. Okay. That's the goal. The goal is to fear. Remember, he said, I've come to test you and so that you would fear me and not sin against me. And that was in Exodus chapter number 20, verse number 20. So here we have him saying here that whoever is the one who's going to do it, they're the ones that are going to fear me. Okay. And keep, you're going to fear me and you're going to keep this right here. You're going to lishmor. That means guard, not and, it means guard. This is the arrow, all of what I said, my commandments. All the time, all your days, not your time, your days. So the things will go well with you. Okay. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to fear me so that you could live and you'd have a good life. If you sin against me, I'm going to have to kill you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. So he goes on and tells them, hey, not that I wish that they would give their hearts to me and stay like this always. That's not true. It's a half truth, would stay like this always. He's literally saying who will give their heart. I don't wish anything. It's a question, who of them would set and give their minds to me to exist, to always be like this, so that they would fear me and obey all my commandments, so that it will go well with them and their children forever. Go tell them and return to their tents. That's what I want you to go tell them to do. But you stand here by me and I will tell you all. And this is what you and I are reading today in the Torah portion. I want you to stand by me so I can give you all the mitzvot. I'm going to give you all of it from chapters number 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and which we're going 28 and 29 and 30. And listen, I'm going to give you the laws and I'm going to give you the mishpatim, which are the rulings, and you're to teach them so that they can obey them in the land that I'm giving them as their possession, right? Then he says, therefore, be careful to do as Yahweh your Elohim has ordered you. So now he's telling them, hey, listen, now that he told you this, therefore you're to be careful. And that means to guard, to do everything he's asked you to do. And don't deviate from the right or to the left. You are to follow the entire way that Yahweh has ordered so that you will live. Okay? This is what I want you to do. So that you can live and things will go good with you and you will live long in the land you're going to possess. The reason why not in the land is because things didn't go well, because we didn't do what he says. Now, there's only chapters in English. Hebrew, there are no chapters. Okay, so let's continue what he says. Now, I want you to understand something. Okay, it says, now this is the mitzvah. That's what they're saying. This is the what? There's two words I want you to pay attention to. This one right here, the name of our Torah portion is called Tetzewah. Okay, this is called mitzvah. Okay, that's not a V, it's a W. Mitz, M-I-T-Z, wah. What does this mean? What is that? What's a mitzvah? It's a command. It's a charge. Okay. Here's a word right here called a mitzvoth. What is that? M-I-T-Z, M-I-T-Z, W-A-H-W-O-T-H. What's the big difference between a mitzvah and a mitzvoth?
And a mitzvah, like commandments, like plural.
Yes, that's plural. So this is commandments with an S, and this is commandment. Okay, one. So one is a singular and one is a plural. Okay, so let me clean it up for you. Those of you who don't know the language, that's okay. You're gonna learn. I'm not gonna hold back on you. I'm gonna tell you what it is. These two words, this means commandment, and this one here is called commandments. Okay. You have to know the language. Now, this is the commandment, singular. The laws, the rulings which Yahweh has ordered me to teach you so you can obey in the land you are crossing, go over to possess. So that you will fear Yahweh, your Elohim, and observe all his regulations and commandments that I'm giving you. You and your child and your grandchildren, as long as you live, so that you will have a long life. The question for you is this: what is the one single command that Yah wants Israel to do?
Listen.
Fear him?
No. What'd somebody say?
Fear. To fear him.
Fear him. That's the command. The command is not, listen, they turned around and changed it to Shema and said that was the command. That's not the command. And let me show it to you. Just bear with me right here. Okay. What chapter are we in? 29. All right. So we're going to take it nice and slow. Let me calm down. All right. So Yah has said that, and let's look for these key words called mitzvah. Okay. Mitzvah and mitzvah. That's what we're looking for. He said, you heard all these words, these ha-davarim, the people, this in which he has spoken to you. He says to the right and to the left, right, and all that he has spoken. 29. Oh, that they had a heart. That's not true. Question is, me, Yatain, they exist to them a heart like this, to fear me, and listen, and Otho, and Lishmor. So what does he want? He wants them to fear him. That's what he wants. Singular. Then he says, and Lishmor, and guard the commandments, plural. Okay. All the days of their life. Okay. It will go well with them. We can see that. Next line by line. The children, which are the B'nai that we've been studying about, the B'nai, here it is, right here, Bet and Anun. The Benahim, their children, forever. Okay, things will go well. So he says this, Lake, meaning go to them and say to them, Shavu, return to your tents, 31. And as for you, Moshe, he's talking to Moshe, you stay right here. You keep standing right here and I will speak to you all. Now listen to what I'm going to share with you. Somebody tell me right now off of this. Remember, they just translated. Listen, this is praise the Kadosh one. Do you remember I told you that one is called mitzvah? That's singular. That's one. Mitzvoth is two or more. It's plural. Okay. It means more than one. Okay. It says, go speak you. Okay. That's eleka, eth, meaning arrow, all. Listen to this. Call what? Ha mitzvah. Do you see? Does it say mitzvoth or mitzvah? Ha mitzvah. Ham mitzvah. Article, definite article. This is this. That means the. They got commandments. It's not commandments. It's commandment. It's not commandments. I need you to go and speak to all call of this in particular, the commandment. It is here in a singular. FS means feminine singular. Okay. If it was plural, it would not have been the ha mitzvah, it would have been the ha mitzvoth. Okay. So there's a command that Yah wants to give Israel. One command. One that they have to get beyond anything. Okay. And let's confirm it. So now we see, but look, he put plurality on kukim right here. He pluralized that, and there it is, NP, plural. The grammar tells you the story. It tells you the truth about what's being said. If we don't understand it, we'll fall for anything, okay? Then it says the mishpatim. Is that plural? Yes, it is. Here's the im right here, mishpatim, plural. So Yah wants to give us a singular, and then he wants to give us a plural, and then he wants to give us a plural. A singular of the commandment, a plural of the kukim, and a plural of the mishpatim, the judgments. And he says, in which the rope asher, here's asher again, as a rope, I'm tying what I'm saying to you, what I'm saying about these mishpatim and the kukim and everything, you are to teach them. You, Moshe, you're going to teach it to them. You, here, that tavret you see right there, you're going to teach them. You are going to lamadain, teach them to do them, to guard them. Okay, asu. Okay. Now, we found out that it didn't say commandments. It's talking about one command. And the command is to fear him. And the reason why you would understand it as fear is because of what's his name said. Listen to this. In the book of Ecclesiastes, and this is the end of our study, and we'll have to probably hit it a little bit more later. It says this, and this is it. Verse 12, let's just start there. In addition, my son, take heed. One can write many books. There's no end to it. And one can study so much that it wearies the flesh. Is this true? Yes, it is. But here is the final conclusion. Here is the final conclusion. Now that you've heard everything, what are you supposed to do?
Fear, yeah.
You're supposed to fear Yah and keep his commandments. This is mitz, woth, plural. What's going on, you guys, is that what they've done is the heathen and the people who don't know Yah and the translators, they want you to say love. They want you to say love first. And let me explain it. They want you to say that on the number one commandment is to love Yahweh, not fear him. Because they have a story, and their story is about a God. Listen to me carefully. Their story is about a God that loves them and that will allow them to do what he wants to do or what they want to do, and allows them to kill the innocent and let the wicked go free. They'll kill the righteous and the innocent and let the wicked go free. That's been their model the whole time. Okay. Yah doesn't want Israel. Yah does want Israel to love him. Check this out. It's not that he doesn't want us to love him. He does. Okay. But Yah was told the reason why he came to Israel is to test Israel so that they can fear him. That's the first commandment. The first command is to fear Yah. He said he's come this way so that you can fear him and so that you won't sin. It says that when he said that he came, that you guys were afraid. Then he asked a question. Yah asked a question. Which one of these individuals would give their heart and give their mind and set themselves and give themselves to fear me? We read in Jeremiah earlier this week where he said that what happened? You don't fear me anymore? Won't you tremble at my presence? He didn't ask the question, whether you don't love me anymore? He never said that, did he? He said, you don't fear me. He says that you don't fear me so much that, listen, you don't fear me. And I'm about to lose my mind. Here you go. 29 and 13. This is what the prophet Isaiah said. I want you to hear this so you can go away and do your study on it. Don't take what I say for everything, but just listen and go study it, and you'll read it again. And I'll give you the chapters and verses again before I go. 29:13 says this, and this is the book of Isaiah. This is what he said. Yahweh said, because these that's what he says. Yahweh says, where am I at? Oh, Yahweh said, because these people approach me with empty words and the honor they bestow on me is mere lip service, while in fact they have distanced their hearts from me, what is their minds, and the fear of me is just a commandment, a mitzvah of human origin. There you go. Yah's saying that people come to him with empty words. That's how they come to him. They tell him what they think he wants to hear. I love you. I'll do what you say. They honor me. Okay. And the honor that they give and bestow upon me is nothing but lip service. In fact, they have distance, meaning they hate me, because that's what distance is, their minds from keeping my laws, my statutes and commandments for me. They want to keep their minds far away from me. They're not going to read the Torah. Everything that they're talking about is that their fear of me is just something that somebody told them. That's why. The reason why you fear me is because of human origin. Your fear of me is taught by these people. They told you the commandment of fearing me is like, hey, love him and try to be nice and so forth and so on. He said, therefore, I will have to keep shocking these people with astounding and amazing things until the wisdom of their wise one vanishes and the discernment of their discerning ones is hidden away. Okay. And here's the thing, woe to those who burrow deep down to hide their plans from Yahweh. Okay, so he knows who they are. They work in the dark and they say to themselves, nobody sees us, nobody knows us, meaning that they don't think Yah knows what's going on. But my point that I wanted to bring out in that particular chapter, in that particular verse was, Yah says, you guys come to me with lip service. And the fear that you have for me, the commandment of fear that you have for me is something that's taught by human origin. You really don't fear me. If you really did fear me, you would change how you approach life. You would change your behavior. You would improve upon what you're doing. You would start listening to what I'm saying. I don't want to hear nothing that you're talking about. You think I don't know your plans. You think I'm stupid. You talking to me like you're talking to a human being. Like I really don't know your thoughts and your intentions of your heart. You want to tell me that you love me, but yet I ask you to do something, you won't do it. You want to tell me that you love me, but yet you don't read the Torah. You want to tell me that you love me and that I love you, but you don't want to learn the language. And I know you. And I know that you have plans. And the plans that you have are plans that you think are hidden from me. And they're not. The commandment is to fear Yahweh. Yahweh came in the way that he came to test them so that they would fear him so they wouldn't sin against him. Then he asked the question, which one of these individuals would set and place their heart to fear me always like this? The shaking and the trembling they had is what you and I need. And we're not getting that. You know why? Because everybody else is sitting around here lying. And they're telling us that our fear of Yahweh is just by simply saying that we love him and that he loves us. Yah does love us. But you better fear him. That's the commandment. The commandment, love, that's part of it. That's that you listen. You keep the commandments out of your love for Yahweh. Okay? And your desire to want to be close to him. But there should be a level of fear and respect towards him. The people that he remember are the people that fear him. Y'all's not remember. I want to go to the book of Malachi. So we got Isaiah chapter number 29, verse number 12 and 13. We got book of Malachi chapter number 3. He says this. Look what he says. Just in case you forgot. So you won't forget. There's a book that's written talking about somebody that feared him, not somebody that loved him. Listen. Then those who feared Yahweh spoke together, and Yahweh listened and he heard. Not only did he listen, he heard, he gave attention, he stopped. If he was doing something, that means he gave ear to it. He just paused and listened. It's like having your kids in the room talking. You hear them, but are you really taking the time to listen to what they're saying? We can hear people talking all the time, but are you giving attention to it? Y'all turned around and heard the individuals and listened to what they said, the ones who what? Who feared him. A record book was written in his presence. This record book right here is called a book of Zikaron. Zikaron, which comes from Zakar, means to remember. A book of remembrance was written before the Holy One. For those in his presence, for those who feared Yahweh and had respect unto his name. They will be mine, says Yahweh Zavaoth, on the day that I compose my own special treasure, a segula. I'm going to spare them as a man spares his own son who serves him. And then once again, you'll see the difference between the righteous and the wicked. The righteous are the ones who fear Yahweh. The righteous are the ones who have respect unto his name. He didn't say a book was written for those who love me. He said those who fear me. Fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. You understand? You have to fear Yahweh. That's the whole conclusion. He didn't say love Yahweh and keep his commandments. The New Testament tells you to love him. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Y'all never said that. Y'all never said that. He said, fear me and don't sin against me. Fear me and teach your children to be afraid of me. So they understand I didn't come this way so you can fall in love with me. I came this way to shake you, to let you know this is how I'm coming back. And they said, well, why should we risk death? Because you know you're supposed to die, but I'm showing you that you're different from everybody else. That's why you didn't die, because you heard my words and you should be dead, but I'm going to let you live. You're special people to me. So in conclusion, the commandment, if you read it carefully, don't go by chapter, go line upon line. And you'll find out that Yah is not looking for someone to love him. He said that you're supposed to fear him. Exodus chapter number 20. Read that. Deuteronomy chapter number 5, verses 27 through the rest. Fear. The whole entire chapter 6 of Deuteronomy talks about fearing Yahweh. Not just one little snippet. I'm not just taking this out of context or saying, well, let me build something on this one thing. No, you and I have been deceived. Matter of fact, what did he say? He says, Shema Yisrael. Shema came before to love Yahweh. Shema, listen, came before that. Fear became before Shema. Fear. And we don't have a healthy fear. We're not afraid of Yah. And that's the reason why our lives are messed up. Because if you really feared Yah, you would live the way that he told you. If you really feared him, you wouldn't go around and try to have extramarital affairs. If you really loved Yah, you would be afraid that if I don't do what he says, he's going to kill me. I won't have a life. We've been told that life is going around and dressing up and taking showers and going out and having fun and taking vacations. That's not life. That's not life. The life that Yah is talking about is to be able to have our descendants continue. And if we don't do what Yah says, he's going to cut that line off. To exist on the face of this earth, you and I have to be able to fear Yahweh. The goal is to have all creation fear him. It talks about it all day long in Psalms, that they would fear his name. Fearing Yah is the ultimate, it's the beginning of something. And if it's not the beginning, it's going to be the end of you. And that's what he's saying to you. How dare we live on his planet and take his breath? He provides food and everything, and nobody have any fear. That means you don't have no respect, no honor. You got kids living in your house that don't fear you. Fear is not just being shaken. It means like, whoa, I need to listen to what this person's saying. But because everything is given to everybody, they don't care. They don't fear you. Wives don't fear their husbands. They should. But, oh, that's right. If this not the husband's house. I was telling one of my friends, I say, hey, you're not going to be the man of your house. You can forget about that. We want to be the men of our house, but you can't, not in this land. The system is not set up for you to be the man of your house. You're not going to be the man of your house. Your wife has too many other people in her ear. She got the government on her side. She got everybody. Is this women bashing? No, this is people who don't fear Yah. These kids don't fear Yah. They tell their parents all the time what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Nobody fears him. But guess what? The people that do fear him, they're going to keep the Shabbat. They're going to study. They're not going to have their own little plans. You understand? So on both sides, and I'm not bashing just women, I'm telling the men the same thing. You understand? If you want, look, right now, you and I are not in a time of service to Yah. Listen to me carefully. What we're trying to do, everybody, okay, from the top to the bottom, whether you're a child, if you're 5 years old, and you can understand the words coming out of my mouth, and you're 75 or 90 years old, listen to what Yah is trying to get us to understand. He's trying to get us to understand you and I are in a time of repentance and saying that you're sorry and saying that I want to fear you. I want to do what you're asking me to do. I'm going to start making some adjustments on my life. I'm going to start changing my behavior and my attitude. And I am going to make mistakes along the way. Y'all be patient with me. But I'm going to make improvements. I'm going to put forth some effort because you know my intent and you know my heart. But for us to expect things to like be religious and for everything that's going to work out right here, it's not, you guys. Some of us may have to get divorced. Depends on your financial situation. You might have to get divorced. This is not a clean land. The system is not set up for you. They're there for everything. They don't have any morals. Their laws say that if you put your hand on your child, then you're going to jail for child endangerment. God's laws don't fit this. Don't you get that? So that's your punishment. When you're here, you're thinking, man, you want everything to be okay, and everything is not going to be okay here. Everybody in your family's they're not going to love Yah like you do. They're going to hate you, and they're going to hate everything that you represent. Don't try to convince your family of anything. Don't try to get your brother to understand. Don't forget about all that. Your sister don't want to listen. Your mama don't want to listen. Nobody don't want to listen to Yah. They don't want to fear him. So what? There's coming a day where they're going to see the glory and the esteem of Yah, like all Israel did in the whole world. And he's going to separate some of those who are going to spare, and the others he's going to kill. That's it. This is the reason why people don't follow the Torah, because this is what it is. This is not a love gospel. This is not a love letter to you. This is about respect. This is about honor. This is about doing what's right. And this is doing what's right and having integrity and doing what's right all the time, whether somebody's looking or they're not looking. This is not trying to come up with your own plans. Do you want the truth or you don't? This is the truth. Your family right now, we're screwed up. All of us, including me. See? So when we recognize that we're where we are and what we're faced with, the expectations, we trying to put too much expectations on people. We want to make everybody perfect. We want to manage them and make them into what we need them to be for us, but yet still you and I haven't been what we need to be for Yah. How is it that we expect somebody to be all perfect for us, and we're in a place right now where you and I can't be perfect for Yah? The clothes that we have on are unclean. The places you live are unclean. The food that is contaminated. And this is the level of kadosh that Yah's talking about. Recognize where you are. You're not in the land. Does that mean you act a fool? No, it means that you start saying, okay, this is where I'm at. Let me say to myself, let me figure this out, and let me try to live the best way I possibly can. If you guys can stay together, stay together. You can't separate. Don't you commit adultery? Don't you commit adultery? I'm just keeping real issues on the table, because it's with all of us. Your job don't want to do what you want them to do. If you can't find another job, you stuck. Don't be religious and quit your job. Then you won't have nothing to eat. That's stupid. You are definitely in a land of wickedness. Try your best to stay out of places with people that endorse homosexuality. You can't even turn on the TV without hearing something vulgar and profane. It's not a treat to be here. This is terrible. And that's what the being paid back in your punishment. Because now you recognize that you only have so much to do. But don't play a religious game with yourself and think that you're 100% and that everything's okay and everything's going to be fine. Some of us might be able to be part of a community, and another of us don't. One of the greatest things that we suffer from right now, we can't even be around each other. We're going to have no place where all of us can go. And there's this COVID and there's all this kind of stuff, and it's stressful, and everybody's being separated. But that's by the hand of Yah. You guys kind of understand what I'm saying to you? Let's be real. Let's stop being fake. Let's stop being fake in our presentation to the Holy One of Israel. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it vanilla. You understand? Let's don't try to add no chocolate syrup to it. It's messed up. Being here is a pain in a behind. Okay. Not being able to have your house the way that you want is a pain in a butt. But guess what? This is part of the curses. It's part of it. If you could pull some good out of it, pull some good. If you could get either look for the good things. Look for the best part of what you can. Take the good out of what you have. No matter how negative it is, pull that which is good out of it and work with that. Stop looking at the negative about how terrible someone is. Okay. Look at the good part of that person. Stop trying to find, you're going to find fault all the time in your family. Don't look at that. Try to find something good. Because that's what Yah's going to do. Yeah, he's going to destroy that which is not good, but he looks for the good. And he looks for that little grape that has a little bit of juice in it. And he takes that part of it. He knows that his harvest is not going to be bountiful right now. He's going to take the little bit of, you remember they said, I think in the book of Jeremiah, don't destroy that one because it has a little juice in it. It still looks good. Has a little something in it. You know, Yah didn't destroy this one man's son because he said, I saw some good in that child. His father was evil, but he said, I'm going to destroy all of his kids and his whole family and all the males. But this in particular child, there's some good in him. Yah finds the good. And so we need to find the good within our situation. Look for the good. You're always going to have the bad right now. You are. You know, that's just the truth. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They want everything to be okay. Everything ain't okay. Everything ain't okay. You got to have some good days and you got some bad days. That's what it is. That's the reality. Some days you're going to be successful, and other days you're going to be done. One day you're going to feel great, the other day you're going to feel bad. Well, what do? You got to hold on to that which is good. That's why the Torah is so important, you guys. That's why I'm taking this extra time to tell you, is that Yahweh wants us to fear him. Because if you don't fear him, then you won't do anything he says. You'll sin against him because you have no respect unto his name, because he's a creator. And you and I are just little creatures that live on his earth, and he gave us an opportunity. In the time that you're here, this is your time. This is your opportunity. This is your contribution. And this is your way of communicating with him. If Yah gave you a house full of problems, and that's what you have, those problems are there, and he allows those problems to stay there because that he's going to use those problems to alter you and to change you. If you're on a job and it's not really cool and you want to be out of there, but you're stuck, it's because Yah's going to deal with you right there. He's using these different things to deal with our character. That's what this whole book is about character. Yah tells the priest, when you come here, it's about your character. You make sure that you stay straight. You make sure that you approach me a certain way. Otherwise, I'm going to show you my character. My character is, if you ain't right, I'm killing you. You approach me the wrong way, I'm taking your life. I'm going to end you. So it's serious, okay? So we're just human beings, male and female. We have our roles and responsibilities, and we need to strive to be better people by doing what he says. And we can do that first by fearing Yah and keeping his commandments, because that is the conclusion of the whole entire matter, is to fear Yah and to keep his commandments. That's what this is all about. That's what humanity is all about. It's nothing else. That's it. That's why you were created, to keep his commandments. That's why you're here, is to learn how to keep his command, to give you an opportunity to figure it out. That's what it is. So keep it 100. Don't lie to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Am I the one who have shown Yah respect and fear unto his name? Have I been committed to him? Have I been a noble person? Have I been, the teruma? Have I decided that I want to give a contribution of my life to him? Or am I wasting time in playing religious games? Am I willing to let go of everything I learned before so I can humble down and just stick with what I'm learning right now? What is it going to be? Whatever it is, relationships, your relationship is indicative of your relationship with Yah. That's what I've been told. Every time my wife and I get into it, it's because I'm not doing something. Yah uses my wife to tell me what's wrong with me, how he feels about me. Relationships, Yah gives relationships to tell you what's wrong, how he feels about you, about what you do to him. So he'll use the relationship to show you what you're not doing. So if you don't like something about somebody, that's what Yah doesn't like about you. It's just that simple. And I can prove that in scripture, where he talks about the man and female. The woman was standing in front of man. He said, I see myself, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She's nothing but a reflection of oneself. Men, if you hear what I'm saying, your wife is a reflection of who you are. So if you want everything to go well, leave her alone and go deal with Yah. I'm talking real talk. My wife's on here. She heard what I'm saying. Women, you got a problem with your husband? It's because you don't like authority, period. Go talk to Yah. You got a problem with Yah. You don't have a problem with your husband. You don't have a problem with him. It's just being played out with your husband. Daughters, you don't like your father? It's not that you don't like your father. It's you don't like Yah. You don't fear him. Sons, you don't want to listen? You want to have your own way of doing things? Great. It's because that's who you are. You're a rebel. Because you don't want to do what your father says. That's why he's given these relationships of father, wife, husband, son, daughter. Don't you get it? It's all interrelated. Friend, all of it. Neighbor, it's all part of it. You understand? Brother, sister? Because he's trying to show us something about our family and about our character. Change your character and begin changing it by fearing Yahweh and being afraid of what he said. That's the end of today's lesson. Hope you got something from it. Any contributions? Anything want to add anything to it? Make a statement?
Yeah, I was listening to that, and we're not a religion. This is a people. What we're
Correct.
talking about is building a community.
Correct.
And in the community, the Torah are instructions, and if we don't follow them and take upon our roles within them, the community doesn't work. And this is how we ended up in captivity.
Well said. Did you guys hear what she just said? So my behavior, if I don't do what Yah says and I don't play the role that I'm supposed to play, I'm affecting the community. Last on Yom Kamishi, I told you, which is the 5th day of the week, I told you that if we don't do what he says, we're going to tear down our whole entire family. Some of us are okay with tearing down our family. You know, my dad was okay with it. He left my mother and 4 kids. He didn't care. Why? Because he wasn't keeping the Torah. Doesn't matter how and when and you know, none of that. What matters is he wasn't willing to do what Yahweh says. Well, he didn't know. No. No. How could Yah righteously judge anybody if they didn't know? Yeah, we do know. We know what we do. We know what we do. Did Abraham have the Torah? Was he given the instructions on Mount Sinai? No. It says that he did what Yahweh pleased Yahweh. He did what Yahweh wanted him to do. It's having that relationship with your creator. So there's no excuse for anybody. I like what you said, Kwa. I really do. Is that we have to know our roles. And once you play your role, stay in your lane. That's what Yah says. Stay in your role, in your responsibility. Whoever was supposed to be a priest, anybody to try to put their hand to it, I could show you. He said, I'm killing you. Because you're out of your place. You're out of your role. You're not supposed to be doing that. We don't understand that. Yah has called certain people to leadership and other people. He said, look, some will be a leader over 10, somebody will be over 100, somebody over 1,000. There's only going to be one king. There's not going to be several kings. There's going to be one king. And there's going to be one high priest. And there's going to be the Levium after that, service of Yah. Let Yah choose who he wants. And if he made you the husband, you think that you got extra super rights, listen to what I'm about to tell you. You screw up, everybody in the house is dead. Okay, because of you. Okay. So you can whine and complain all you want to, and you could think that you're special. Yeah, you are special. You mess up and you go against the Holy One, he's going to kill you and all your kids and your wife and everybody and everything that you own. I know this is not the God of the New Testament. This is the one who's the Holy One of the Kadosh One of Israel. You will be put to death in everything that belongs to you. So that's not a wonderful thing if you don't follow suit. Okay. You don't like being a woman. You hate the fact that you're supposed to be the glue to hold the family together, and you're stressed out because you have to listen to your husband. Yah made you the woman because you're supposed to be the helper. So get to your job and start helping, because you hold a title that only he holds, which is the helper. Yah helps mankind. He gave man you. And yes, and sometimes you're not going to be appreciated all the time. But because you're not being appreciated all the time, you give up and stop helping? No, stay in your role and do what you're supposed to do no matter what, because it's between you and your creator. You're not always going to be a child. You're going to be an adult one day. But while you're under your parents' house, you behaved and act in accordance to what Yahweh says, because ultimately your decisions are going to affect the community, period. This is about our family. This is about building a house. This is about Yahweh's house. And you and I are his children. And if we're going to do what he says, then he says, listen, it's going to be this way. It ain't going to be no other way. So let's get used to that. Okay. So community, that's what it's about. Perfect, Qua. Anyone else?
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear
Praise
Yah,
him.
keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For
That's
Yah
it.
shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or evil.
Praise Yah. Praise the Kadosh Shekah. Praise him, because that's what he said. This is what it
Hallelujah.
is. Praise him. Praise him that he woke us up. You guys, listen, you say, well, you're talking hard speech, brother. You really coming down on us. I'm gonna tell you, you're right. I am. You know why? Because I can't say it without applying to my own life. That's what it is. I had to make some changes, and I'm making changes every single day, and that's what it's gonna be. So on this Shabbat, praise the holy, the Kadosh one. You got to get that word holy out of my mouth, Kadosh. Praise the Kadosh Akkad. Praise him. He's a set apart one. And of our life, we're set apart. Okay. So you got to start being set apart. Just get in your lane, stay where you're supposed to be a great wife, be a great husband, and be great children, and follow the Kadosh Akkad. Follow the set apart one, and be set apart in your thinking, in your mind. Hallelujah. 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 Praise be to the Kadosh one. Hallelujah.
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 Let's hear it.